Hello, Nacita School community. This is Tanya Kitlowski. I am live from our school building today with our first of three financial updates. Today I'll be providing a general overview for our community regarding our priorities and how we begin to look at budgeting. That's the first step, and so I'll share a little bit of overview today. The second session that I do with you will be more in regards to the budget itself. And then the third one will be more of the details of our specific data in terms of how the budget actually shaped up and the impact on our taxpayers. So, again, today is our first session together, and I'm just going to share kind of our priorities and how we begin budgeting for the school year. So the first thing that's important to know is we're heading into what will be our planning year for fiscal year 24-25. We are already heavy into the midst of the planning year 23-24. The budget had preliminary approval at the annual meeting this last October and was formally approved in November at that board meeting. Our school board members who are in charge of kind of approving that budget and that process include Mr. Duchek, Mr. Ard, Mr. Horak, Mr. Harriet, and Mr. McNally. Those individuals have all been elected to our school board. The board has done a lot of fiscal work the last half a dozen years regarding how to be fiscally responsible, and a few of those things that they have really honed in on are listed here on this particular slide. We have really done some creative refinancing regarding some outstanding debt that we've had since 2015-16. Part of that ability was to save on the project that they had at that time and then use that savings to prepay some of the principal that we had on that particular debt. So in the end, that saved our taxpayers because we are prepaying debt instead of using that money on other projects. We have underspent a couple years in a row regarding the authority that our school district has, which again results in taxpayer savings. We have advocated at the legislative level regarding resolutions to help our legislators understand our particular fiscal scenario, which is very unique to us. And we've really tried to help them understand where we are prioritizing and what we're asking of them to consider as they delve into the biennium budgets and policy. We have redesigned our post-retirement benefits for our certified staff, and really we took away any liability that would have been outlined in that redesign that is unfunded. That was a significant thing back in 2010 where districts had the opportunity to redesign. We did not have to because our board had taken fiscal responsibility. And so we were fully funded. But in order to go into the next 30, 40 years, we wanted to redesign that so we were able to have a pay-as-you-go model versus the funding that we had for those liabilities. So that redesign saved our district about $900,000+ when they redesigned that. The annual contributions that we make in Fund 46 are really responsible for helping with some of the capital projects that we have. Although the fund is not that heavy, it's not that much, which we'll talk about eventually. It does go to pay some of the capital things that come up that we may or may not have been able to predict. So that is a fund that we put in there when we think we've saved money in certain departments for the year. We can put that at the end of the year into Fund 46. We have been trying really hard to keep annual contributions going into our fund balance. Our fund balance is sort of a feel of a savings account, if you will, although it doesn't serve exactly like that. But our board has taken the responsibility to add line items into the fund balance that are for specific purposes, especially those things that are more capital project related, things that would cost us more money that we wouldn't be able to budget in any given annual budget year. We've also done some very strategic actions for short-term borrowing. The idea of those actions are to help save interest within our district's budget. And so right now we've done several things to take advantage of any year that there are some opportunities there. This year we're in a consortium, so we can get the best borrowing power that we can to again save our district on interest and to make interest, given that the strategies involved with investing right now have been pretty lucrative in terms of what they have been. So we've been able to also create a borrowing scenario that is actually earning us interest at the same time that will help offset or defray the costs of interest that we have on that borrowing. Lastly, we have really been strategic about purchasing buses for the sake of saving money on the back end of maintenance costs. Our district has really shifted some of our demographics in the last few years, and so our district needs have also shifted. So when we're prioritizing and budgeting, we're really thinking about what are the needs of our children and how do we meet those needs. So a few of the demographics that we consider are special education. Those are students that have individual educational plans, and those students, we have about 157 of them, where our population is right around, for a clean number, about 700 students, and 157 of them have IEPs. And so we'll talk a little bit more about it, but what that means is we have a lot of unaidable costs associated with providing those services, and it is to the extent that we have about $1 million that we transfer out of our Fund 10, our general operating budget, to fund the unaided costs of our students with disabilities, which is a mandated cost through federal law. We also have an increased number of free and reduced students. Those are students who qualify, their families qualify to receive free or reduced breakfast, lunch meals. And so we have certainly elementary classes at 100%. And so across the level of K-12, the percentage goes down as kids get older. They're not interested in getting that support, which allows them free or reduced meals, and so it goes down. But we do currently have elementary classes at 100%. In 2022-23, we put on over 150,000 miles in our transportation department, and so that gives you a little bit of an idea of the sparsity within our district of students per square mile. And lastly, we're really focused on every individual child. It is very important to us to know our kids and to really try to meet their personalized instructional needs. And we've done various things instructionally to do that. And we also have a vision that focuses on high levels of engagement. We don't want just students sitting and getting. We want them to be engaged with their learning so they're able to learn at higher levels. And then lastly, our third priority is really making sure the social and emotional needs of our students are met. We're very attuned to the need to meet that particular aspect of a child in order for them to learn at high levels as well. And so all in all, we call it nurturing a powerful learner, that we want every child to feel confident in what it is they're learning about here at school. This particular chart shows that shortfall I mentioned of special education funding. I had mentioned we transfer $1 million, it's actually close to $1.2 million out of our regular education fund to fund the supports that are needed by children with disabilities. And that comes into approximately $2,000 per student. That is transferred out of our general fund to fund the unaided cost of special education students. So that is a particular piece of our story, and a very important piece because receiving aid for special education students is very important to us. It is mandated that we meet their needs, and we want to do that and will do that. But to receive more aid to make that whole is very important, and you'll hear more about that. The biennium budget for 23-25 did increase that percentage of aidable costs. I doubt we'll get to 33%, but to give a clean number, a conservative number, it'd be great if we get close to 30% per student, which is an increase from about 26%. So a lot of people think that special education costs are fully aided. They're fully aidable, but we're only getting a certain portion of that aid through our state budget. And then lastly, what I wanted to share today is that with the changing needs of kids within our district and frankly across our state and nation, we have a full recognition that one size does not fit all. So that is the purpose that we're really focused on, that personalization and really individualizing instructions, our instructions, so every child can have their needs met, whether it's through project-based learning or experiential learning, through our community partnerships or service learning, or maybe it's just how we provide that learning opportunity within the classroom through flexible learning environments, or even through competency-based, really honing in on what students are needing to show us and what they need to learn. So that is what I have for today. That is my first 10 minutes, and we will jump right in. Tomorrow, I hope to come on with you again, and then I will post these each to our website so you have the full picture or can review different sessions that you would like to review. If you have specific questions, feel free to always get a hold of me here at the school. You can reach me at 608-565-2256, and my extension is 120. And again, this is Tanya Kitlowski, Superintendent for Nassau Area School District, with our first session of 3 regarding school finance. Have a good day, everybody. I will see you soon.